Welcome everybody to episode 105 of the You Can't Cop This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. All right, what are we going to kick off with for this episode? Can I just say this is going to be the manhunt is on, just for those that are paying attention to the news, for our lovely friend Juan, but this is a Juan-free zone. There is no
hang on a
Juan
second.
here.
Off the air, we said we're going to have a Juan-free episode, and technically 104 was Juan-free.
Juan-free.
So we
had one free episode.
Very good.
One free episode. One. Anyway, this is getting bad.
Very bad.
This will be one free. No, he's
One
not
hasn't
here,
been apprehended yet.
No, but I'm sure it's the manhunt. It's like that. What's the movie? Catch Me If You Can. Tom Hanks is on the case.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is one free. What's next on the run sheet?
Is there anything you want to get off your chest about Juan? Because you brought it up. Clearly,
he's an Aussie.
He's in your subconscious.
Well, he's not stories.
He's not Australian. He's living in Melbourne.
Living in Australia.
You can live in Melbourne and not be Australian.
This is also true.
Yes.
I don't know. I've just been seeing a lot of things that scream reasons we need to regulate the hobby. That's all.
Like what?
Just well, the one thing for one.
So I'll be devil's advocate here, right?
Can I bring one? I can bring one. It's on the run sheet that I think is another reason we need to regulate the hobby.
Yeah, go.
The backyard breaks.
Sure. Do you want to kick off with that?
Do we want to kick off with backyard breaks?
Sure. I'll just rebut what you said, though, first. All right. So I think where people are most conflicted is that he was the regulator of the hobby, right?
I wouldn't call him the regulator of the hobby, but sure.
He called people out and he tried to hold people account.
Yeah.
But my point about this, and I'm going to die on this mountain, so I think this is like the dichotomy of man. You're not all good and you're not all bad. Some of the things that he did for the hobby was good.
Yes.
And some of the things he did for the hobby was illegal and he should go to prison for.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
You could also then make the argument that the reason why he was so successful at doing his bad stuff is because he had this very good cover as a good guy. But that doesn't mean the things that he did for the hobby to make it good weren't good. And I think that's where, like, for me, like, the waters are getting a little bit muddied, all right?
True.
So stay, like, thinking in that vein. So the things that he did was he called people out, he held people accountable, things that happen on Twitter still, on Instagram still, and blowout forums forever and a day, right? So
agreed.
I think that regulation is still there. The other thing about regulation too is he actually defrauded auction companies and people that professionally authenticated things, right? So that is regulation, though. And I think, again, going back to the human dichotomy, like, humans are going to make errors, right? I think PSA is the leading grader in the world. They're still going to make errors, and they even have a process for that to compensate people when they do make errors. So, like, let's. I find this part, like, frankly, a little. You can sort of hear the frustration in my voice. So, if you listen to Sports Card Nonsense this week, I wasn't going to bring this up, but now that we have, so Jesse did a show by himself, and Jesse, on the odd chance that you are listening, you did a wonderful show, mate. So what I'm about to say, it's not even criticism. I'm really just like replying back to what you said. So he was talking about how people shouldn't call people out without facts. I'm going to frankly go on the record here and disagree. I think the conversation has to be had because people are very good at covering their tracks, aka Juan Garcia. People knew that he was up to dodgy shit for years, and they just couldn't piece all the pieces together like Darren did. So, actually it might have helped if there was a conversation.
So people, it's that it's very, yes, if there's elements of truth to it, it's very beneficial. But if there's no truth to it and it's a false accusation, it can be very damaging. I think that's that's what sort of, that's the flip side of the coin.
Yeah, sure.
Unsubstantiated claims.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Can be quite destructive.
But I think waiting until you've got, rock solid proof then also meant that
Sure, there's
Juan
got to be a
Garcia
reasonable level.
ran a $1 million scheme and no one called him out. In fact, Ken Golden facilitated it.
Yeah, exactly right. It's just no facts at all versus
Yeah.
rock solid evidence. There's got to be a middle ground there where you have a basis for the accusation.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about our friends at Backyard Breaks.
So can we just talk about this with like almost a comedic sort of tone?
Yeah.
I want to read this almost as a comedian. And the reason I say that is because, come on, guys, like this is not fresh news. So Backyard Breaks did a giveaway of a packet and then a very expensive, if my memory serves me right, it was a Downtown card came out.
Yeah.
Which was, they said around 20,000, just overinflated.
Yeah.
And then they didn't give it away. And then they did this whole scam of like,
is that where everyone was on TikTok, like hiding the card when they were doing the break?
That was a different thing. So they actually pulled the card live and then said, "Oh, we're not going to give it to you. We're going to keep it ourselves." And then they did this whole thing where someone called up and pretended to be the person and said, "Oh no!" Like it was just
didn't have it. Okay.
So look, I think once you know that that's their behavior, and then people still went into breaks with them,
Yeah, true.
So I think the reason why people go into their breaks is because they fill breaks quickly, and that's a real thing at the moment. Like breaks are very slow.
Yep.
And then the other thing too is they do a whole shtick thing. And either you like the shtick or you don't like the shtick. So you like someone like me who doesn't like it and doesn't appreciate it, don't go in their breaks. And I don't appreciate the other things they do too. But other people, they know about all the scams they've run, but they like the shtick and they go into their breaks. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's actually not a controversy here.
It's true. But I still think it's where the hobby needs regulation. There are newbies that jump into this stuff. Buyer beware, though. Buyer beware. If you're new to the hobby, do your research before you jump in, I guess is the lesson.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Comedian Russell.
Oh, look, I'm not going to even say a funny voice. I'm just going to laugh at this really quick. So this is a former employee who went onto Reddit. The post has now been deleted, but of course, everything's been screenshot and reposted. Anonymous account because he's a former employee. I want to get this out there. Shill bidding on whatnot on Twitch bakes. I mean, come on. PWCC, Probstein, Goldens, eBay, everything's shilled. So, they're not giving stuff away for free. They're not making a whole lot of money for nothing. Yep. Flamethrower odds. Technically, the term is not lying when they say that one box is a case hit per flamethrowers. However, for flame lights, the max we were allowed to put in was a $300 card for a $275 box. The average card in one of those boxes would be $50 to $80. For Crown Flames, a $700 box, there is a $1,000 card per box, but the average card placed in them is $150 to $200. Okay, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. We've spoke about this previously. This is a repack with a different name. It's a repack that's called Flamethrowers. It's the same thing.
It's a repack.
How much margin are you putting onto it? Are you putting 40%, 50%, 10%? And what's the acceptable margin to apply? I personally think 10% is about right.
Sure. Yeah. I don't have an issue with people marking up their repacks and making a little bit. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're selling something, you're supposed to make a profit.
Yeah, well, they have to. They're a business and they would have overheads and all the rest of it. So my very limited business understanding is if you're making 5% clear, then you're doing very, very well in business. Yeah. Culture. The culture of the company preached by the higher-ups is to be entertainers. Streamers were actively told to lie and make up the price of low-numbered cards while being as entertaining as loud as possible. It's almost run like an online casino, attempting to give their buyers a rush, get them hooked, and make them keep coming back.
They're a business, of course. That's the whole game. We want you to spend your money with us. Like that's literally what they do.
I don't think that's a scam.
No, it's just hyping it up.
The one thing I will say though is that I think if you lie to your customers, I don't think that's good customer service, because at one point, if you hit a card and it's numbered to 5 and they tell you, oh, it's worth $5,000 and you sell it and you get $1,000, I don't think that would make you want to go back to that particular.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's something that's going to incentivize you to come back. I would say, if anything, that might make you question how much the
yeah.
breaker knows about cards.
Yep. Yep.
But again, going back to that whole shtick thing, I think that is like tied in
That's
quite
part of the
nicely there.
stick. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that is just, what I would call shtick.
Yeah.
Blessings. You will hear, I'm going to bless whoever loses this break with cards from my personal collection multiple times per stream. This is 100% lie. Those cards are built into the price of the break prior to spots being sold. Those cards come from the flamethrower division of Backyard Breaks. The cards that grade lower than expected for crowns and lights are sent to the breaking studio and used for blessings.
So what? It's part of the pool. And if he's a part owner of the business, it is part of his personal collection. It's the entertainment thing all over again.
I'm trying to think of the right response for this. Because I do put, I call them
skunk prizes.
I call them skunk prizes. And I do factor that in, but I never call them giveaways.
It's not because the skunk prize stinks, by the way. It's the fact that getting nothing stinks.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, sometimes 3 people will skunk and then I will put in cards from my PC.
Yeah.
But you also, too, get to a particular point when you've got so many cards. What are you going to do with all these cards? So it's actually quite nice to like do a little gift.
Yep. Agreed. Like I don't see it being a problem. I feel like the letter is being written with they're saying it's from their personal collection, but they factor in this when the people are gonna skunk.
So let's exclude the fact that this is clearly a disgruntled employee, and let's say that all of this is true. What if this behavior is actually scamming behavior in your opinion?
The shield bidding.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's wrong, and they shouldn't do that.
Shield bidding's wrong no matter where it is, right? Simple as that.
Yeah, but we know it happens everywhere, and actually,
there's eBay tries to stomp it out, and
the way that the auctions are designed is that the second highest bid is actually what determines the final price. So that's always going to be forever and a day an ongoing issue.
Yep.
Unless you do everything Dutch auction.
Yeah, correct. I definitely think the shield bidding's a problem. Flamethrower odds, I think they need to be a little bit more transparent.
Well, so my thing about that is if it was that badly overpriced, then people wouldn't buy into them. So I think...
Yeah, I think
people buy in irregardless of what the price is, or they've actually played with the market until they get it to a sweet spot.
Yep. I do think it needs to be disclosed that it's entertainment primarily as well, because of the new people. Like someone might just come in not knowing this is a stick, like it's a.
So flesh that out, because
it's pantomime.
So flesh that out, because this actually might be the most intelligent thing we say all night.
Well, so when you watch an infomercial, and it says this is a paid presentation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right? That it's like, we're going to sell you the NutriBullet because it's the greatest invention ever, and there's no other way to blend all of your fruits together into a smoothie. The NutriBullet's the best thing to do it, whereas it's just a blender, all right? But the NutriBullet's the best at it. So at the beginning, they say this is a paid presentation.
Sure.
So it's like buying a packet of cigarettes or something like that. There needs to be a warning.
So what's the disclaimer on a break then? So for me, I think the disclaimer is that you might get nothing. You could spend $100 and get zero.
There should be some form of, as far as the regulation goes, I would have some form of disclosure statement when you sign up for the break, so you're aware of what you're signing up for. And it can be treated like the Netflix terms and conditions, where you go, okay, and it doesn't matter, but they're there. Because if you want to read it, it's there.
So
not everything said on the break is going to be actual. Prices are based on product knowledge, which is not necessarily a reflection of the current market. Something like that.
Yeah, right.
So when someone goes, this is a $5,000 card, and it's worth $3.50, you can't say, but this guy said it on the break that it was a $5,000 card.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be plastered all over the place. But the people that sign up need to be aware that this is all part of the show. It's actually entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a tricky one. I know it's not an easy one. And
so to be fair to your point, there are breakers out there that they don't do it like a T's and C's that you sign off when you do it, but they'll have a post, say, pinned to the top of their page that says, this is how breaks work. and
Sure.
sort of give you like a bit of a rundown.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think that we did have one at one point, and then I don't know what happened to it. I think we just either got rid
Most
of it
people
or
know what
it sort of
breaks
just
are. Yeah.
went off into the ether. Look,
Yeah.
most people will ask, the new people will ask,
Yeah. Yeah.
but look, you're probably right. Maybe there should be more disclosure about how it works.
I mean,
But
we say it when we talk about cards on the show, right? Like when we say you should buy a card, we then backtrack very quickly and say, we think if we had this amount of money, we would do this with it. This is our opinion, not actual financial advice. Do you know what I mean? Like it's...
now you're making me really think about what I actually do say. I think I more hypothesize what I would do if I had X amount of
I'm
money
like,
and
if
I
I
wanted
had it,
to.
I
Yeah.
would do this.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I think there's got to be a level of common sense as well. Like it's not all backyard breaks just actively deceiving people. It goes both ways. And yeah, like an anonymous former employee is not going to write a shining review, that's for sure.
Yeah. Look, I'm surprised that there's not more dirt here.
Yeah, it's true.
That's my honest thing. So when I was reading through this, I was kind of like, I think we knew that already. Flamethrower odds, yeah, that's that's pretty. I can imagine if you're building out boxes, that would
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
who
know.
actually? You tell me one repacker that discloses their margin. I mean, come on.
No, there won't be.
The culture thing. Oh God, we knew that. Come on, they sit around in crop tops and
Yeah.
headbands.
Yeah,
Like
it's high. They're hype up guys. Yeah.
The blessings. Most people can work that out. So
True.
look. All right. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Buyer beware. That's it. Go into a break. You just know. Just if you're unsure, do your research. It's like with anything, right?
Backyard breaks, you know what these guys are up to. I think that's probably the thing now too. Like no one's got any excuses anymore. They didn't know what they were doing. Everyone knows now.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Shall we go something a bit closer to home?
So this next bit, I don't think we need to talk about this a heap, but I just wanted to see some cards.
I know. That's why I put some cards up.
So we put some cards up. Now, so my takeaways from this is we actually had non-NBA. Which for me, that was a real shock because...
that was me.
We're an NBA exclusive podcast, but there was football, there was golf, which is great. Look, I don't have any appreciation for football, as in I'm naive to it. I'm not saying I don't. I can't not look at it and think that's a cool card. That's not what I mean. But I don't know who the players are and the values and stuff.
I come on. You said you just wanted to see cards, no context, no nothing, just cards.
Look, I made an assumption.
Look, you made we got over 50 comments, and I had to jump in.
It's an awesome post. So look, I'm just going to pick out a couple, and I'm going to go with Andrew Dean, Zeke Nargis. Look, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Zeke, so he put up one. It's got a elephant print. It's got an Origins horizontal RPA, and then he's got a Spectra vertical RPA, which I think, with that particular patch, I'm going to go that's the card for me.
I'm just scrolling through the... Ooh, that was nice. Nick Van Exel. Just a die cut.
Anyway. What about you, Ad? What did you take away from this?
I saw the Nick Van Exel and went, oh, you ripper. I thought it was nice. People just sharing their cards. It made sense that Martin Holmes was going to share soccer.
Yep.
Some nice ones there from Travis Parker. I remember that. Those artist proof ones from Flair. They were really nice. Just brings back some memories. You're right. You're right. It's good to look at cards.
I think sometimes it's just a bit overwhelming with all the razzes and sales and, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I need to just look at my own cards, to be honest. I spend more time sorting them than looking at them.
Well, that's why I went and put the ones that I pput up. I went and put a Nick Davis Momentous Moments, AFL. I put a Darth Vader from the old Star Wars game that I played. Just basically an old version of Pokemon for those who are playing at home. A Kyle Kuzma that used to be worth some money and now isn't worth anything because it's Kyle Kuzma. And the currently popular the Ja Morant rookie that we've got. Is it the people from Modern Family or whatever in it now? It's got multiple cameos in it.
It's just getting more.
I love cameos on cards. It's so good. Should probably try and sell that, actually. Let's be real. Oh, Scorers Club, John Stockton. That's a nice one.
Great. So that's from Jared Boxall. So I was actually looking at that as you were speaking.
Yeah.
Underneath that, James Mann's got a Dominion RPA. So that's shout out to Dominion that we'll talk about in the last episode.
Yeah.
And actually, this one I am going to shout out to people. So this is the Origins Big Bang card. Guys, if you haven't seen this card, which I must confess I had not,
For those that are playing at home on the Facebook stream or the YouTube, I am just randomly clicking on stuff and opening cards. So there we go. Big Bang Origins.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards. That's it. That's a card and a half.
Yep.
That's yeah, that's nice.
Alrighty. Now this is, I don't know how much card news this really is, but I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Sweet.
Eligible candidates for NBA Supermax extensions and their estimated earnings: Luka Doncic at $70 million a year, SGA at 64, Triple J at 63, De'Aaron Fox at 61, Bam at 61, Jamal Murray at 60, Brandon Ingram at 60, and Spicy P, Pascal Siakam at $57 million a year.
So, do we want to play a game with this?
Play a game.
Let's play the game. All right. Do they deserve it, and will they get it? Luka Doncic.
He deserves it, and he'll get it.
Okay. Doesn't deserve it, but he'll get it.
Okay.
SGA, 64 million.
Deserves it and probably will get it because I think they've learnt from lowballing James Harden all those years ago.
Ooh. I'll say, yeah, there's a relative level of deservedness, and yeah, he'll get close. He will get close to that. Yeah. Triple J
is 10% less. I just think he needs to be a little bit more effective offensively. So let's say he gets paid 55 or 56 a year. I think that will be fine.
Yeah.
Now, if he has a massive step up offensively, which I don't think he will, I'm going to say doesn't deserve it and doesn't get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he probably deserves more than what he's gonna get.
Probably deserves.
Yeah, so I reckon he deserves that 55 that you were sort of alluding to.
Yeah,
but I think he'll get offered 50, and that's because of the person. Because they're not gonna lash out for it.
Yeah, okay.
They're gonna try and undersell it. Anyway.
I think historically Memphis haven't been a tax-paying team, but
they might have to be.
Yeah, I sort of get the feeling they're spending a little bit more. So looking at Triple J's salary at the moment, 28.9, 27.1, 25.2, and 23.4. So his salary actually descends.
So it's a front-ended contract.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, that means he could go from 23 to 60. That's a massive jump.
Bit of a pay rise, isn't it? I would not complain if I had a...
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb. He's not getting that. No way.
He'll be lucky to get 50, I think. Lucky to get 50. How about your boy, De'Aaron Fox? 61.
So I always like to think of building teams in terms of championship chances. And I think that if they pay him 61, that decreases their chance of filling out the edges of their roster and getting extra players.
Yes.
And my opinion on him is offensively, he's quite complete, but defensively, even though he's gotten stronger over the years, I think he's definitely struggled, and he needs to be put with somebody that can protect him, a bit like someone like Klay Thompson.
Yeah. That's a fair point. I like that.
I would prefer that he got paid 50 and then they had that extra $11 million to spend on someone else. That's my personal. So I'm going to say doesn't deserve it, and
what about does deserve it, won't get it?
I'm going to say he doesn't deserve it and won't get it.
Okay, I'm going to say he deserves it and will get it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I think he's going to be. Yeah, they can't afford to lose him now. They've sort of made their decision as far as the way they're headed.
Yep.
Next on the list, Bam Adebayo, and from what I've heard, they might be struggling to pay him this.
So, I believe a
certain NBA player put out a tweet yesterday or the day before, and it was taken down very quickly.
What was that? About Dame?
Yeah.
So I think they're more likely to do something like what they did with LeBron, Wade, and Bosch, where they all took a pay cut
Yeah.
and they took a pay cut to get more salary. I think that's the more likely thing to happen.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say he doesn't deserve it and he doesn't get it. I don't think he's a $60 million player. Just he hasn't got enough offensive punch.
He's not a number one. He's not a Batman. He's a Robin, not a Batman. I say he doesn't deserve it, and he probably won't get it.
Yep. Jamal Murray, 60.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
He deserves it. Might get it. Think he'll get it.
See, my issue with this is if they pay him and they pay Joker, then they don't get Reggie Jackson and they don't get Contavious Caldwell-Pope, and then they might lose, say, Peyton Watson. And I think this is sort of where I really struggle with all these type of like insane numbers. So I'm going to say, look, he deserves it, but I'm going to say
he shouldn't get it.
I hope he doesn't get it. Okay. Because I think that team that they've got is crazy good.
Yeah. No, I reckon he deserves it and he'll get it. But
Aaron Gordon as a third option is just amazing.
True. Brandon Ingram.
So I'm going to say doesn't deserve it, but gets it. And in this hypothetical situation, Zion Williamson gets traded and then they have to hold on to talent in any way that they can. And then his agent goes to the table playing crazy hardball and then they have to like just overpay this dude.
Yeah.
So such a hypothetical, but this is where I'm going with it.
Doesn't deserve it and we'll get it. Yeah, I'm down with that. I agree.
Spicy Pete
deserves it. Does he?
I love me some Spicy, but I think he's better off as a number 2. And I also think he's going to be traded in the next 12 months.
Ooh.
And so I think he'd be most likely traded to a championship contender. So they're going to be pretty capped out. So I'm going to say doesn't deserve it, doesn't get it. I'm being pretty harsh tonight.
I'm like, he deserves it. He probably won't get it, but he deserves it. Yeah, I think he deserves it. I don't think Toronto will be happy to spend some cash.
But if you think about that team, though, he was given the keys to that team and could have done anything that he wanted to do. And I actually don't think he took full advantage of all of his opportunities.
Yeah, this is true.
So, look, I actually invested into Siakam betting on a rise after they sort of cleared out their team a bit and gave him, and nothing really happened. Yeah. And also I doubled down and invested really heavily into all of my fantasy teams with Siakam too. So, I actually
he's let you down quite a bit.
He's burnt me bad, so I've got no problems like throwing this guy to the Wolves.
Yeah.
So a little bit of news out of Sacramento in that they signed JaVale McGee and they gave him a guaranteed contract, and as a consequence of that, the Kings waived Nemes Queta, and they also waived
Nerlens Noel.
So it's really interesting about this because we were talking about this with the Oklahoma City Thunder in that they're so overflowing with talent. When they make cuts, people are going to swoop in and get them. So
take the pieces.
The reason I'm bringing up Queta is because I actually think he's an NBA talent athleticism. He's got motor and he's got defense and he's a big body. So he was almost immediately picked up by the Boston Celtics, albeit on a 2-way contract. So that means he'll play some time with their G League team and some time with their first team. But I really do like that because Al Horford's 37. Porzingis has got an injury history. He's injured as we speak. Yep. So
for sure.
If you say to me, and so was Time Lord. Time Lord's just a ticking time bomb when it comes to injuries. If you say to me he plays 45 games with the Celtics and 15 to 20 of those are starts, I'm not going to be shocked. So that's a really important pickup for that team.
Yeah, that could be huge.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
The other one for me that's really interesting. Actually, wait, let's go back to Queta. So the question is he a buy, hold, or sell at the moment?
Oh.
Look.
All right. Now I have to do research. Let's go on to card ladder.
So while you're doing the research, I'll lay down what I've been thinking about with this guy. I don't actually think he's a bad buy. And I think it's the same reason why Porzingis is a good buy, a couple of months ago, and he's still probably a good buy at the moment too. The Celtics have a pretty crazy fan base. And just like when people get traded to the Lakers and they go up, he's going to a big national team. So
yeah,
the next thing is how much is that bump going to be? look, if you're happy to make $1 or $2 off a trade or a transaction, then go nuts. The other way you can play this too is you might have some that you got out of random team break rookie card of this guy. Put him up for sale. A Boston collector might grab him and.
Well, I can tell you that his cards aren't going for a whole lot, so it might be a buy for me.
Look, he's very, very cheap. He's a very low end guy. I'm not even going to look at the prices. I'm guessing his Prism Silver goes for about $2 or $3. That'll be my guess.
Select white Prism rookie to $149, $2.
Yeah,
great. Grab one of those.
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, cool.
And you might flip it for $5 or $6 ad. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're not talking about.
Yeah, but once he goes on a run in Boston and has a few starts,
sure,
he goes up to a $10 to $15 card, and you're like, sweet, thank you.
Maybe. Let's not backyard break this. Let's keep the lid on it. Yeah.
If he goes Cam Thomas on people, and people go crazy, we can hype it up. What about the Purple Ice rookie card, which is a color match?
Color match?
$1 US. There you go.
Yeah. That's about what he's going
Sell it for $10 US when he goes on I'll get the green. Get the green.
I'm going to change your name in the chat to BYB, I think.
Hype it up. All right. Yeah, I'm definitely on the buy.
Yeah.
Shed a bit of pocket change.
Yep. I've got enough speculative stuff. I'm not dipping in for this guy, but
I'm going to backtrack back to the show me cards, by the way, because I had pocket change to show this week. I just realized.
Okay.
Hang on.
Well, while you're finding that, can I keep going with this segment?
Right here, listener.
You got
of the show.
You got it. All right, cool.
James, it was a Raz, so I'm counting it as pocket change, but it arrived in the mail from Lachlan Blunt.
Hey, congratulations!
So this is the first Raz I've won in a long time. So
sticker or on card?
Sticker, unfortunately. But
I think I went in this Raz.
Yeah. I think we both grabbed a couple of spots.
Yeah.
James Worthy. Legacies. It was nice, lasting legacy. So first Raz I've won in a very long time. So thanks, Lachlan.
Congratulations, Ad. I'm happy for you, mate.
Just thought I'd give Lachlan a shout out. And if you're razzing any more Lakers, you can take my money.
So the other person who was affected by the JaVale McGee signing was Nerlens Noel. So, look, I was actually very happy the Kings got Noel. It really puts him...
He ran around the league a lot.
Definitely. He has. And it's a little bit of a shame he hasn't stuck. He was the 6th overall pick in 2013. Yep. 2013 is very famous. The Anthony Bennett and the Giannis draft.
Yep.
Look, I think the amount of years that he's played in the league, I think he's not a bust at the number 6 pick, but it's definitely not maybe lived up to the potential that he's got.
Has he been picked up by anyone, or do you think he'll be picked up?
It's very, very
unlikely.
Only just happened, recently.
I don't know. He's been in the league 10 years. So he's no spring chicken.
Maybe the Lakers might reach out. Maybe the Warriors. That would be
off.
That would be
Lakers just got Christian Wood, so
yeah. Look, Lakers are loaded.
I feel like if they hadn't picked Wood, you'd be like, Noel's a big man that they could look at. But yeah. Anyway,
then the last one on this list is Usman Garuba, which I'm very, very happy about this signing. I like this a lot. The Warriors are a very old team. I think that goes without saying. Chris Paul, Draymond, Clay, Steph. They need some young guys.
Yeah.
Running around and doing some stuff, and they need a big body. So he ticks both of those things off. This is more of a thing of circumstance than him not panning out in the league. Like that Oklahoma City team, that's going to be very difficult for young players to stick in that team. So look, I almost feel like I've sort of predicted this last couple of weeks. There's going to be good players rising out of the ashes and, going to good teams. And I think this is
so all right, let's I'll give you a card, a price, and you tell me buy, hold or sell.
Is this Garuba?
Yep. All right. Immaculate rookie patch auto, 14 of 99, 25 USD.
Look, I'm going to answer this the same way that I answered Quetta, in that you can buy that, and I don't think it's going to go down. I think that's going to be like a fine purchase.
Mhm.
But it also comes down to two. Do you want to spend $25 to make $2? And also, how many speculative cards do you already hold, right? And
All of my cards are speculative.
and I think that's probably like where I'm a little bit at the moment
Yeah,
too.
I
Like
get
I've
you. I
literally
get
got
you.
boxes of, speculative cards. So look, if you're just jumping into the game and look, and you like Garuba and you like the Warriors, that's a great pickup. That's a great pickup.
Mm,
But if it's just for a pure flip, look, I'd probably say at the moment I would say it's low yielding and probably the risk is not probably worth the reward.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But you can pick this guy up cheap if you are looking.
Yep. Yep.
That was just the biggest ticket that I could see on 130 point. Shout out
Yep.
to our friend Lane for his beautiful website. Yeah, like you pick up rookie cards for like $2.
Yep.
So if you do want to prospect and if you're a Warriors fan, spend
Home run. Home run.
$10 you pick up a handful of rookie cards and
Yep.
speculate to your heart's content.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
You can follow him. You can check out his minutes and stuff like that. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a cheap fun play. Alrighty, from at Eric Whiteback, we haven't spoken about our friend Eric for a little while, but
I know I thought you guys had a falling out or something.
I'll never fall out with Eric.
You're missing Eric a little bit.
I've missed him dearly. So he posted about a recent sale of the triple Logoman being Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. I'm not going to pause to let you even.
No. We all know how I feel.
So this actually scored PSA 10, which is ridiculous. For a card like that to PSA 10 is...
Do you reckon PSA just gave it a 10?
No, I would say it's literally the 1 in 1,000 that it just came out nicely.
Yep.
There has to be one that comes out nicely,
True.
Look, traditionally these cards do not grade well at all.
No.
So it sold for 300,000. All right. So
yep.
I'm going to ask you a little bit of a leading question, then I'm going to introduce the next card that I want to comp this to. Do you think this is over, under, or correctly valued?
Over. Like, I'm not going to trash the selection of players on the card. I know it's an incredibly... I mean, they're the 75 Logomans. They're three of the most current day iconic players. I argue that a third player shouldn't be Luka, but
yeah, sure.
That's why. I'm just talking NBA champions, right? Like the other two have got championships and MVP awards, and Luka hasn't either. So we could put Giannis on there, and then with someone that has a championship and an MVP award. Anyway,
that would be a sick card.
Would be an amazing card. Anyway, looking at this, like it's not the triple Logoman LeBron. It's three amazing players on a card. Sure, $300K. I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't have this on my. If I had $300,000, I'd have my hat in the ring.
Yeah, and I think what you just said, then I actually agree with. If I had the 300,000, I probably would buy something different. But in saying that, if I did buy this card, I would actually feel pretty good about it. I think this is a very long-term hold. I think if someone flips this in 2 years, we might see this back on Eric's Twitter saying this is one of the worst buys.
Like one of those, this is an amazing...
But I think if you hold this for 20, 30 years, I think this is the type of card that will just slowly trickle up. I really like it for that.
Yeah.
And, the funny thing for me about this is that the worst player on this could actually be Luka. I know that sort of plays into your argument, but it's kind of funny in a way. Yeah. And then on the flip side too, he could be the best player out of all of this. His
career's not over. That's right. Like
that's right.
He could go and win 3 MVPs and be an amazing thing and be like,
oh my
God.
And that would be a really fun card then. Right.
Or in 25 years' time when it's like, there's Steph Curry, there's LeBron James, and some other bloke that faded into existence. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
So our friends at Card Ladder put up a very, very juicy dual Logoman of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
It's a real shame this is a 1 of 1 because I would buy 3 of these rather than...
So this sold for $90K. So now...
I'll offer the guy 100.
Let's hypothetically say it sold for 100 and you could buy 3 of them. Would you prefer 3 of these or 1 of the triple
Give me
Logoman?
3.
Yeah. And that's where I sit too, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Magic is... I don't have a Magic auto. This is a very bad argument to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah.
If this was in my collection, I think that's the type of thing that you just put into a vault. You know what I mean? Like that's a forever
Oh,
card.
yeah. Like that's literally a forever card.
So I'm just going to be a little bit naive here, though. See, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the card where it says 1 of 1, now I feel like I should know this, but did Upper Deck start doing that, or did Panini start doing that 1 of 1 logo?
Huh.
Because I felt like they had a different. Unless I'm just having a seniors moment, I thought they had a different, like a 1 of 1 printing. So, guys, we say this a fair bit. If we ever get things wrong, please write in and tell us. And for you guys out there who have got a lot more Upper Deck knowledge than me,
I think this. Oh wait,
can you please correct me if I'm wrong?
is this? Oop, wrong one. Yeah, exquisite collection Logoman autographs. Is it Upper Deck?
On the bottom left, it says Upper Deck.
Where? Oh, it does too. 2006-07 exquisite. I reckon 1 of 1 was already in circulation by then. I think they both use it.
I would have thought that would be a proprietary thing. Do you know who we need to talk about this? Paris. Can you set me straight, brother? And
when we go on the Codex Boys show,
I don't want to wait that long.
It'll be the first question we ask. Well, if they hurry up and just invite us on, we'll just go on tomorrow or the next day. We'll talk.
That's right.
Yep. Get us on. We want to ask questions. Questions that need answering. Although I don't think anyone's selling this. You reckon they just got it authenticated because it's dinged up in the corner?
It's badly dinged up.
I like the idea of getting it authenticated though, because it's a 1 of 1. Who gives a fat rat's if it's got a couple of dings on it? Like there's juicy NBA logo men there.
Yeah,
and you can see the green around the Larry Bird one and the gold around the Magic one. Like,
yeah. So my take on that is, I think that I don't think you could sell this card raw. There's too many things that could go wrong. You know, a fake card, fake patches. You know what I mean? I think.
Well, so clearly somebody didn't use the cleaning services before they got it authenticated.
I think that's good.
It's an amazing card. I'd still have 3 of it over the triple logo.
Yeah, and look, again, this is a really bad time to use it, but I'm still going to say it anyway. I think this is the classic of like you buy the card and not the grade. I think
for sure.
So often we get stuck in this whole thing, you know, PSA 10 and all the rest of it.
Scratches and yeah, I know.
You know, I'd still have a PSA 1 Kareem rookie.
Yep, I'm with you.
Final thoughts on this bad boy?
If I had $100,000, I would buy this. That is an amazing card.
It is, yeah.
Flat out, just an amazing card.
So yeah, Card Ladder, thank you for your ongoing support and thanks for your ongoing content too. Look, if you don't follow them on Twitter, guys, check them out. Card Ladder, a surprising good follow.
It's a great follow, yeah.
So we've only got one more thing in the run sheet, but I actually don't want to end with this. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. We're going to talk about Kevin Porter Jr.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about something else before we sign off. So I don't
I've got to think of something else to talk about.
Well, either you or I do, but I'm just saying I don't want to finish with this.
No.
Kevin Porter Jr.'s history of misconduct, 2019, suspended by USC for personal conduct issues, exact reasons unknown. 2020, accused of punching a woman, charges not pressed. 2020, arrested for handling firearms in a vehicle, marijuana possession, and driving without a license. So what they didn't notate there was actually there was a car accident, and when the police went to assist, that's when they found the unlicensed firearm and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
2021, verbal altercation with the Cavs GM for moving his locker. Apparently he kicked off. They moved his spot in the locker room, and then he literally chased down the general manager, through the corridors.
Jesus. Look,
traded to Houston, and they literally traded him for nothing. It was just to take him off our hands. And he was a high first-round pick, so Houston was betting on the talent that he would come good. And he'd been mentored by John Lucas, who is a player famously known for having his own personal problems when he played in the league, and has now turned around his life. And part of what he's done with turning his life around now is mentoring young men who, I'm saying this in the kindest possible way, who are deemed to be a little bit problematic.
Problematic, yeah.
2021, sustained minor injuries in a Miami strip club alteration. I believe that the injuries were applied to him by a woman with very long fingernails. 2022 dispute with the Rockets coach John Lucas at halftime.
Yep.
Angrily left mid-game. So again, look, that part, I'm not surprised those two would have butted heads. I'm sure they've had some, very real conversations.
Argue with your mentor, sure.
Yeah. 2023 felony assault and strangulation charge in New York hotel, accused of breaking a bone, and that should say breaking a bone in her neck and choking. So the league is currently investigating this young man as we speak. So Houston is not allowed to suspend, fine, counsel, nothing. They can't do anything in regards to this. They allegedly have tried to trade him and haven't been able to find a trade partner. And then this was actually aggregated by MC Sports PH.
Yeah.
And they aggregated it from Woj's Twitter, but I went through all of Woj's tweets and I couldn't find this. So let's call this an unsubstantiated source at this stage. But we'll watch this for next week. Houston are waiving him. So I'm going to put this into the Josh Primo section where you should expect to see a dip of his pricing around the 70 to 80% mark.
Yeah.
And I think the rap on this guy was that he's ultra talented and you could buy him up really cheap because people were quite wary of where he would be in 5 years. Would he be in drug rehab? Would he be dead? Or will he be an all-star in the league? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the type of scope that this guy had. So you can kind of see where I'm leading with this. Look, I think if you're holding this guy at the moment, you've probably missed the mark to sell because of, I think, the drop-off that you're about to experience.
That'll happen.
So
yeah.
I think it's kind of that situation where you just kind of have to suck it up and hold on to it. This is just Josh Primo again. So if you want to sort of see the future of, where this is going, just go to Card Ladder and just put in Josh Primo and just see the dip. Look, it's just unfortunate. Look, I would say this is unfortunate for everyone involved. I think this is bad for Houston and bad for the lady involved. And I think when people are talented, teams are more likely to give them more leash and more
opportunity.
But I get the feeling this is actually the end of the road for this kid. So I actually don't expect to see him back in the NBA. That's my gut feeling from this.
Yeah. It's pretty serious.
So his contract is super interesting, though. So they actually just re-signed him to a 4-year, $80 million deal. But the really interesting thing is only 1 year was guaranteed. So essentially he signed this deal betting on himself.
Yeah, so he's cooked. He's going to get 1 year, yeah.
He'll get paid for 1 year. They'll stretch that out over 20 years. So they'll pay him like $2 million a year over 10 years.
Yeah.
They'll stretch it out like that. So he'll get a check for all that time. But yeah, he won't be getting that $80 million. And that's the other reason why Houston also structured it like that, is so that they could, if he did, fall off the wagon again.
Then they've been okay. Save themselves.
So that was like the pretty negative view of it.
Yeah.
What's the positive view that you could take out of this? And there's a very recent example of this.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm alluding to here?
Ja Morant?
Yeah, we could talk about that, but there's probably a more recent one is PJ Washington.
Yeah, PJ Washington.
So let's check out PJ Washington's 2-year pricing. This is not what I was expecting to see, actually.
All right, what has your searching revealed?
So all time, he started at around the sort of $100 mark, and then he picked up. Let's cut out a massive chunk of that data because that's the COVID crazies. Once we sort of get through that COVID crazy, he was sitting at around the 150 mark, which for the way that he was playing, I don't have a problem with. And from there, it's just a very steady decline. So his last price was $27. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if there's one for 23, that's what I paid for mine.
Yeah.
What I was expecting to see was like a dip and then a recovery as he came back into the league. But maybe we haven't, either he's not going to recover or we haven't seen that recovery yet because the season hasn't started.
Interesting.
And look, I think this would be the good outcome for this kid. This would be the high end for me now.
Yeah.
So I think if you're looking at these prices, $19, $20, $27, $25, I think you'd be going, okay, this is what I'm hoping to get for my
Well, all right. So
Kevin Porter Jr.
there's another player that's in a situation.
Talk to me.
Miles Bridges. He's still contracted to the Hornets. He's actually serving a 30-game suspension. The question is, what happens to him when he comes back? That was the other player that I was looking at.
Yeah.
Because he started to trend up.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Like Silver PSA recently, Silver Rookie PSA 10 recently sold for $100, $99.99 US.
Okay.
Whereas back in,
So his low was 15,
yeah,
and then recently sold for 100. Okay.
so over the last year, like he's dipped down to $15, but he's been hovering around that 40 to 80 mark, and then over the last sort of couple of months, he started to trend up again with sales around the 100 mark. Interesting. Not that like he played no contest to the assault charges. He's got three years good behavior or something. With no
I think
jail
there
time.
was enough. Wasn't there enough like video footage to?
Yeah, no, he pleaded no contest. He was guilty. He knew he was guilty. He's like, I'm not going to fight this because he did it. But yeah, Miles Bridges, Charlotte Hornets, and the Hornets held onto him too.
Yeah. All right. I know what I want to talk about for the last card.
Done.
Larry Nance, 1986 Fleer.
What the hell? Where did that come from?
So I went to Card Ladder and picked out. Well, I was going to pick out the first NBA card, but the first was the Jordan 86 Fleer. So I was like, I'll skip that, go to the next one.
Yep. Brilliant. Larry Nance.
It's a sick card too, by the way. He's doing
That is
some
a
like
mad-looking
reverse windmill type dunk in a Phoenix uniform. This is wild. PSA 10 last sold for $1,375. I gotta tell you, is this set? You know how we describe Prism to be liquid? Is this whole set a liquid set where people are just buying and trading them and selling them willy-nilly just all the time?
Maybe.
PSA 5 last sold for $28. This is my entry point. I don't want to spend more than $50 on a card like that. Awesome card to have. Like, don't get me wrong.
Look, look how high he is. He's standing next, like, rim height.
Yeah, head's next to the rim.
That is crazy.
That was a better way to finish the show, wasn't it?
That's a nice card. That is a nice looking card. You're right. It's a better way to finish the show. Yeah. Check out some of the amazing other cards that are in the 86 Fleer set.
Yeah.
Awesome. This was a good show. That was fun.
Thanks, Ed.
Till next week. I'm sure we'll have some more juicy content, or the listeners will challenge us on some of the beautiful things we've said.
Yeah, guys, if you know about that 1 of 1 logo and the
get back to us.
Proprietary options on it, I'm very keen to hear about this because I didn't realize that was an Upper Deck thing.
Yep. And yeah, if you've got any, I
feel like I should know that too.
Any areas, we're going to talk about Jordan. So think about your Jordan stories. I'm sure everybody's got a Jordan story to tell. Actually, we'll put a post up on the socials.
We need to talk about this actually. So we didn't talk about the Pokemon giveaway. What we're doing about that? We should disclose that.
Yep.
So we only had one response to the Pokemon prize.
Yeah.
And our feeling is that it's probably not worth doing a giveaway for one entrant. So Mark Smith was the person who did answer.
And that was an amazing starting lineup, by the way.
Yeah, Mark, thank you for going to the effort. So why don't we read out his answer?
We can do that. I can technology.
Cinderace and Zeraora being speed to the backcourt, shooting on the win with. You'll have to help me here, Ad.
Yep, I'm getting to the
Intel Eon.
Where are we? Where's the podcast? There we go.
I can read the next one. Dragonite.
Yeah, Dragonite in the team. That's solid.
Intel Eon. How do you pronounce that one properly, Ad?
Whatever. Cinderace and Zeraora bring speed to the backcourt. Yep. Shooting on the wing with Inteleon, is it? It's just Inteleon, isn't it?
I always struggle.
boards.
To me, these are made-up words. They're not even real words. They're just...
Duraludon brings an inside presence and size, and off the bench, Hooper as a defensive specialist. Of course, Hooper's going to be in the Pokemon basketball team.
So, Mark, we'll hook you up with a present, mate. Like, we're very grateful that you put that up, and we're very thankful too, mate. But I think we should probably get a bit more of a response overall from that. So that's our honest feelings about it. So we're going to do a bigger drive next week for the Jordan episode. So we'll do maybe the best response, or the best card, or whatever we think is.
If you want to rebrand your Pokemon stuff, Mark, just say that Michael Jordan should come back and do Space Jam 3, and this is the Pokemon lineup that should be in, and then it becomes a Jordan story and it becomes your entry. I'm joking. I just see your face, Russell.
I'm just like,
oh my God, that could be my submission. I'm going to rewrite the script for Space Jam 3 because Michael Jordan wants to one-up LeBron.
A crossover, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be interesting.
All right.
Jordan stories, everybody. Give us your Jordan stories.
On that note,
we're done.
Thank you, everybody.
105 in the book. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks, Russell, for another fantastic week. We'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel.
We'll be back.
We will. All right, guys. See you next time.
Bye-bye.